I'd ask Council Gantier to lead us in a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Would y'all stand?
Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can come and conduct business. I pray we would do so, be good stewards, and do things in a wise manner, and take care of the funds and the resources of the city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
John Ketcher.
Here.
Troy Shropshire.
Here.
Dennis Nance.
Here.
Steve Smith.
Here.
Randy Chipwood.
Yes, here.
Yvette Barham.
Yes.
Chris Gantier.
Yes, I might as well go on with the trend.
Laura Seaver.
Here.
Item 2, petitions from the audience. I do not know of any. They have not called in or reserved a spot. Item 3, department head reports. Building inspector, no report today. Emergency management, no report. Fire, recognize Chief B.K. Young.
I don't have a whole lot. Made it through born and raised, so we got that going. Talking with Mr. Chitwood out there. We've been kind of chasing parts this week, trying to get stuff up. We're electronics and stuff like that. We're kind of having some issue with some of the lights. Trying to track down those parts, like I was talking about. You know how that's been. Y'all seen it too. So, but we're fighting through that. But we're doing pretty good. Y'all got anything for us?
Estimated time of move-in?
We're supposed to do a punch list October 24th, 25th, I believe they told us is kind of the projected. So after we make one of those out, I would assume a week or two, it kind of goes through that and we'll walk it again. So I'm hoping around November, 1st November kind of deal. But it's coming along. We went and walked today. We went and talked to the overhead door guys, visited with them with some things that we saw and asked about, and they told us, no, we're good. Here's what we're doing. So it's coming together. It's looking like a fire station on our side and what I guess a police station should look like. No, it looks good. It looks good.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Golf course, no report today. Library, recognize Ms. Carrie Rarrett.
Hi, you guys have our fancy statistics sheet. I printed them and realized that I did not fill out any numbers for our questions answered. August, I don't have numbers for you because we keep track of our questions answered on little pages like this, and so they stack up. And without Lily to enter those in, I thought, I can do that. That's no problem. So we'll have them for next month. But I'm pretty proud of the 52 new library accounts that we had in August. Honestly, I think we are all pleased anytime somebody comes into the library in the Grand Building. We did not anticipate us being as busy as we have been. And today was a good example of how busy we have been. We have one big table that we set up. It's 2 folding tables together with chairs around it, and that's kind of the meeting spot. And we had a teacher doing classwork with EPIC students at that table, and at the table we used for our microfilm reader, and then the staff had meetings with various people at a different table. So we were a hoppin' library today, and it was really fun. Do you guys have any questions for me? Our timeline is similar to police and fire.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
Carrie.
thanks.
Park Cemetery, recognize Mr. Frank Powell.
Waiting for the summer to go away.
Growing season just keeps growing, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, on that note, we're going to take advantage of the dying out, and this week we were going to skip mowing to take some trees out that have died, and first tree we cut down, our clutch goes out in the dump truck, so we're spending time doing that. We was able to borrow one from the cemetery to get that tree hauled off. But anyway, that's our plan right now. I jumped some of that, and then Other than that, just mowing or maintaining. Unfortunately, the cemetery's been, they've been busy this past month. But other than that, I mean, it's looking good out there, just that they're busy.
It does look good out there, and the parks look good as well.
But, so other than that, Splash Pad will be shutting down here in a couple of weeks, I think October 3rd. So,
All right. Thank you, Ms. Frank.
Thank you.
Police and Animal Shelter, Chief Nichols.
I don't really have anything tonight, Mayor, unless you all have any questions.
One of our council meetings recently, we had a petition from the audience that talked about some hazard lights and things such as that on 69 Highway.
Yes, sir.
I did get that information, and that information passed along to Chief, and so we're doing some evaluation in that regard.
I've started some talks with the state, again, that's state highway, and we're gonna look at several different options and see if there's something that we can look at, get approved, whether it's signage, whether it's lights, whether it's a reduction in the speed limit. We'll be looking at several different things and see if we can coordinate with the state to make that a safer intersection.
I also saw some opportunities for grant monies
Yes, sir.
as well, so we're taking a look at that. So we should stay tuned and
Yes, sir.
taking a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, Recreation Center.
I don't have anything unless you all have a question.
We have a question for Rec Center for Jessica. Thank you very much. Street Department,
He texted me earlier and said he wouldn't be here, but he does not have anything. Didn't have anything.
nothing to report. Mighty good. All right, we'll move to item 4, Mayor's Report. Item A, discussion possible action regarding approval of the June 30, 2021 Independent Auditor's Report of financial statements for the City of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma, as presented by Violet Kirkendall of Hood Associates, PC Certified Public Accountants. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion, Shropshire, second, Chitwood. Ms. Violet Kirkendall, welcome. You're our friend. You've been doing this for several years. It's nice to see
Yes,
you.
I have. And I apologize that everybody just got their audit reports today. We have kind of some requirements that we have to go through before we can release those, and we had some things that were kind of carrying on that had to hold them until we got that information in. So I'm going to go through a summarized version of the report, and if anyone has any questions after, you get a chance to look at it, you can be sure and reach out to me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that we can. We're going to go, I've just got a little slide presentation, and this first one here is just about our firm, about where our firm offices are located, that we do have a peer review of our firm, meaning we have an outside audit of our files, and that we've received the highest rating, the memberships that we are associated with. So the scope of the audit, basically this is the summary of the basic financial statements. We have the 3 components, which is the government-wide financial statements, we have fund financial statements, and then we have the notes to the financial statements. So when you're going through the report, you're going to see balance sheet after balance sheet after balance sheet. And so it's just those different fund statements that we have to present. But from 2020 to 2021, the government citywide net position increased $288,000 from what it was in 2020. And then the general fund that pays for the majority of the city operations had a $139,000 increase in fund balance. So there's a lot of numbers in there, a lot of split out of a lot of numbers, but to sum it up, what we really focus on is the city operations and the government-wide, and that's pretty much the recap of those 2 things. Our responsibilities when we come in and do your audit is to conduct your audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards, and to plan and perform your audit to obtain reasonable, not absolute assurance that the basic financial statements are free of material misstatement, and then report on your internal controls over financial reporting and compliance with laws and regulations. Part of the communication that we give to you all is that we look at the illegal acts and say if there's anything that come to our attention as a result of performing our procedures, which there were none, If there were any changes in significant accounting policies, which there were no changes in fiscal year '21 that we had to disclose to you or bring to your attention. There was no disagreements or difficulties with management, and there was full cooperation and access to the books and records. The financial statement compliance audit addresses three basic questions. Are the financial statements free of material misstatement? And we issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements that are presented in all material respects. Basically, that means it's a clean opinion. There were no findings. It sounds backwards, but it means it's a good opinion. The second one is, our internal controls over financial reporting adequately designed and operating effectively? We did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we considered to be a material weakness. Did the city of Pryor Creek comply in all material respects with the finance regulated laws and regulations? There was no material non-compliance was noted with the finance related laws and regulations that govern your city operations. So basically, again, that's a very summarized method of going through all those pages and losing you in between, because it's so boring to listen to me say the same thing over and over again. But again, if you all have any questions, and my goal is usually to be able to get you that report in time for you to ask me questions here. But sometimes things are presented that we can't do that procedure. We're hoping that we can follow up with 22, get that out quicker than we've had in the past. So it's just a matter of processes and completion, so that we will do that as quickly as we can on our side.
So you found no deficiencies on?
No deficiencies, no findings. When we do our audit, we go in and we test deposits, we test payroll, we test expenditures, and I mean, basically, all internal controls, we look at that, and we don't do a 100% test, because we can't do that, but we do a random selection, and none of the items we selected in any of our tests had any findings. So.
Very good. Any questions for Violet? At all?
Does
Come on.
anyone want my email address in case you want to email me questions?
Come on, Chris.
Well, no, I don't have any questions, but I would love to see us table this so we can actually have a chance to read this, since we just got it today, and approve it, because I like to, before I approve something, actually look at it.
So I would encourage us not to table it. We do have agencies that are waiting for this report, and I would like to be able to get this report to them as soon as possible. We do know that there are not any deficiencies. Also, all of these pages, all of these balance sheet pages, unless you're going to be a whiz with the calculator, or a whiz with the knowledge about what those numbers mean, I would encourage us to go ahead and to approve it. We certainly have the right to table it if you want to make that motion.
Oh, there's a motion on the floor. They would have to amend their motions, wouldn't they, to table it?
No, there would be a motion to table and a second to table, and then
A motion to table?
there's a motion to table. Is there a second? Hearing none, the motion to table does not stand, and we have the motion to approve and a second. Are there any other questions or any other discussion?
I do want you to know, Chris, that Eva has my email. If you have any questions or need clarifications, I'm certainly willing to answer.
I just like to read something before
I
I
like
vote
for you to
for
be
it.
able to. I definitely like for you to be able to.
Very good. Call for vote.
Ketchum.
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Nance.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Chitwood.
Yes.
Barham.
Yes.
Fontaine.
No,
Seaver.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, Violet.
Thank you. Y'all
Thank
have
you.
a good night.
Thank you.
Let me put this back on.
Item B, discussion and possible action regarding nomination of an ad hoc committee with the mission of recommending to Pryor Creek City Council the path forward for our Castle Theater with a time target of December 20, 2022. Mayor Lees nominates Terry Lamar, Brent Taylor, Jenny LaFave, Jack Hardy, and Monty Littlefield as committee members.
Motion.
Motion Ketcher, second Shropshire. After discussion over the last several months regarding Castle Theater, after some tours of the Castle Theater, after trying to listen to citizens regarding the Castle Theater. There are citizens who want to take it to the ground. There are citizens who want to restore it. There are citizens who want to modify it and make it useful in another particular way. So because of all of these things, I felt it appropriate to trust a committee who most have skin in the game regarding our downtown corridor. So if you'll notice that, Brent Taylor is a property owner in downtown. All of these are property owners downtown corridor. Jenny is director of our Pryor Main Street organization. Terry Lamar is not a property owner in the downtown corridor, but brings a wealth of information regarding history and regarding preservation of history. And I feel like it's a fair thing to populate the committee in this way. So with those thoughts, having an ad hoc committee has a beginning and it has an end. It has a definite mission. After it ends, it ends. It has a definite mission to make the recommendation to council. So those were my thoughts. I did talk to each one of these folks individually. They agreed to serve, and most of them are here tonight. I would entertain any questions from council in this regard.
It's about time, isn't it?
About time, absolutely.
I'm in favor of it. Would it be a beneficial idea to just add one of the members of city council to be on that committee as well, just to have a part of?
I would say that their meetings will comply with the Open Meetings Act, and if anybody on council wants to attend a meeting, then they should have the ability to do that. And so having the committee, the ad hoc committee, being a representative of citizens without being an elected official, I think there's a benefit. I think there's benefit to us as council, us as elected officials, to have them make recommendation to us.
Thank you, Mayor. This has been going on for a really long time, so thank you for putting steps into place for the public's voice to be heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel like that they need a budget or some, I mean, they're going to probably look at studies, they're probably going to look at different things in that area?
I have confidence if they need a budget, they'll ask.
Okay.
I also know there's been some work in the past that they can lean on.
There has been much work that's been done in the past. That architectural study regarding the mold, study regarding even taking the building and doing a restoration of the building. So they have quite a bit to work with. Also, Ms. LaFave has lots of resources with the state Main Street organization, who have done all kinds of preservation around the state, and also the national organization that has done lots of preservation around the state. So what I did not ask these folks, I didn't ask them what their opinion was.
It's probably smart.
I did not ask them what their opinion was, but I did ask them to serve, and for those who are property owners in our downtown corridor, I figured that they would have they have skin in the game, and they probably have a high degree of caring about what happens to them. So I'm sure committee that citizens will give you a call and will speak to you about what their opinions are, and I hope they do. So don't be surprised if there are a few who do attend your meeting. So, other discussion, comments, questions? Call for vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith, Chitwood,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petra.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you all for your willingness to serve. I really appreciate it. Item 5, City Attorney's Report. Discussion possible action for approval of municipal court agreement with Cherokee Nation regarding municipal charges involving tribal defendants. I would ask council to table this tonight. This needs to be a presentation by our city attorney, who is involved in a trial in another town tonight, was not able to make it. So I would ask council to make a motion to table.
Motion to table. Second.
Most table Ketcher, second Smith. Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petra,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Council, if you please look at the addendum that was forwarded to you. These are two items that were missed going on our agenda. I'd like to deal with these now. Item 1 on the addendum, discussion and possible action regarding appointment of Walter Olson to Recreation Center Board, seat number 3, term ending 8/31/2024.
Motion.
Second. Motion Ketcher, second Shropshire. This is a recommendation from our rec board coming to council, and we do have that seat open. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petra,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 2 on the addendum, discussion possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $22,425.25 to Deere and Company for the purchase of a John Deere Z997R diesel mower for the Pryor Creek Cemetery at state contract price from cemetery capital outlay account 444455413. This is a correction of item 6P on the regular consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Smith. This is an item that they need at the cemetery. Any questions? Frank Powell is here, can answer any questions we might have.
What was the difference between that? I just didn't catch what the difference was.
Different seller, wasn't it?
The P&K John Deere is a seller, but it looks like they're using Sourcewell contracts, so it has to be ordered from Deere and Company
Right.
All right.
through P&K.
Got it. I just didn't understand what the difference was.
Just got your steps in.
We do have an expert supply chain guy here sitting right next to me here on council. He knew exactly what it was. Any other questions, comments? Call for vote.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petra,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6, discussion possible action on consent agenda. This is fairly long. I will read them one at a time. Item A, approve minutes of the September 6, 2022 council meeting. Item B, approve payroll purchase orders through September 30, 2022. Item C, approve claims for purchase orders through September 20, 2022. Item D, acknowledge receipt of deficient purchase orders. Item E, discussion possible action regarding audit agreement with Hood and Associates for fiscal year ending June 30, 2021, in the amount of $15,500. Item F, discussion possible action regarding rejection of bids for the 2022 tennis facility parking improvements project. Item G, discussion possible action regarding a reappointment of Travis Malure to seat number 7 of the Planning and Zoning Commission, term ending 9/30/25. Item H, discussion possible action regarding reappointment of Joe Barnes to seat number 6, which is an alternate of the Planning and Zoning Commission, term ending 9/30/25. Item I, discussion possible action regarding increasing Pelivan funding from $25,000 to $32,000 per the request of Grand Gateway Economic Development Association. This action is proposed to overspend line item 022015337. Item J, excuse me, Discussion possible action to approve hotel motel final expense report for the Pryor Public Schools from 2021-2022. Item K, discussion possible action to approve hotel motel final expense report for Pryor Main Street from 2021-2022. Item L, discussion possible action to approve hotel motel final expense report from Pryor Area Chamber of Commerce from 2021-2022. Item M, discussion possible action regarding hotel motel tax allocation for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. A, Pryor Area Chamber of Commerce, 40% at $49,699.52. Item B, Pryor Public Schools, 20%, $24,849.76. Item C, Pryor Main Street, 10%, $12,424.88. Item N, discussion possible action regarding hotel motel tax allocation grant application from Lake Area Softball Association in the amount of $5,000. Item O, discussion possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $11,961.60 from CBI Wholesale Electric LLC for LED lighting at the Whitaker Park tennis courts from bids received. Other bids, Lighting Incorporated BA in the amount of $6,806.87 for half the number of lights needed. Lock Supply Company in the amount of $22,288. Item P, discussion possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $22,425.25 to P&K Equipment for the purchase of a John Deere Z997R diesel mower in the Pryor Creek Cemetery at state contract price from Cemetery Capital Outlay account 444455413. That is the item that we just approved on the addendum. Item Q, discussion possible action regarding expenditure in the amount of $9,238 to Matlock Security Systems for a secure door system to match the new station security lock system. Other bids received, Monitoring Oklahoma in the amount of $15,574, Kingdom Alarms of Tulsa in the amount of $14,744. Excuse me. Item R, discussion possible action regarding beginning the hiring process for 3 new firefighters and 1 replacement firefighter, starting dates to be effective when the new building is in operation and upon the retirement of Captain Gibbs. Item S, discussion possible action regarding approval of job descriptions for the Thomas J. Harrison Public Library, which were approved by Library Board on August 25, 2022. Item T, discussion possible action regarding hiring Elise Kassler at the full-time librarian 2, administrative librarian position at range C, step 1, annual wage $35,360 from the Thomas J. Harrison Public Library effective September 21, 2022. This position was left vacant by the resignation of Lillian Tucker. Elise currently works part-time at the library. Item U, discussion possible action regarding closing Graham Avenue at Hogan and Adair Street north to Northeast 1st Street and back to Hogan for a homecoming parade on Thursday evening, September 29, 2022, from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Item V, discussion possible action regarding hiring Courtney Davis to fill vacant deputy clerk position, range D, step 1, annual wage $36,400. Excuse me, let's see, I lost my place.
Victor?
We're in V. Effective September 21, 2022, this position was left vacant upon the resignation of Charlotte Morse. Item W, discussion possible action regarding promotion of Kenny Bennett from Pryor Creek Police Patrolman Range J, Step 4, to Corporal Range K, Step 4, at an annual wage of $54,630. Item X, discussion possible action regarding promotion of Jamal Gunter from Pryor Creek Police Patrolman Range J, Step 3, to Corporal Range K, Step 3, annual wage $49,209. Item Y, discussion possible action regarding promotion of John Gann from Pryor Creek Police Patrolman Range J, Step 3, to Corporal Range K, Step 3, annual wage $49,209. Item Z, discussion possible action regarding promotion of Billy Frazier from Pryor Creek Police Corporal Range K, Step 3, to Sergeant Range L, Step 3, annual wage $50,386. Item AA, discussion possible action on hiring Nathan Levi Hudson as a patrolman at the Pryor Creek Police Department at Range J, Step 2, annual wage $45,303. Hudson is CLEAT certified and currently on the Oklahoma Police Pension, effective October 24, 2022. This will backfill the position left vacant by Matthew Gilbert. Item BB, discussion possible action on hiring Bobby Ray Devon Shatswell as a patrolman at the Pryor Creek Police Department at Range J, Step 2, annual wage $45,303. Shatswell is CLEAT certified and is currently on the Oklahoma Police Pension, effective October 24, 2022. This will fill the position created by the addition of the new school resource officer. Item CC, discussion and possible action on the expenditure of $15,947.18 to Haddock Technologies for 2 Promethean boards and with license, camera, cable, projectors, audio system, and mics for the training room at the Emergency Services Center. Other quotes received, JTF Gov, in the amount of $14,175 for Promethean boards only. Touch boards in the amount of $15,673.18 for Promethean boards only. $15,896.18 was awarded to the police department for the from the Attorney General grant. The Attorney General's office has approved the Pryor Creek Police Department to purchase the equipment, and the department would be reimbursed. $15,896.18 to be expended from Police Attorney General Grant account number 965-5503, and $51 from Police Supplies General Account 02-215-5032. Item DD, discussion possible action regarding removal of a memorandum of understanding with Pryor Main Street pending approval of Economic Development Trust Authority. Let me read that again. I think I misread that. Discussion possible action regarding approval of a memorandum of understanding with Pryor Main Street pending approval of Economic Development Trust Authority on September 19, 2022. Item EE, discussion possible action regarding transfer of $50,000 from the general fund EDTA account 02-203-5222 to the EDTA fund account number 98 pending approval of Economic Development Trust Authority on September 19, 2022. Item FF, discussion possible action regarding expenditure in the amount of $10,700 to Higley Consulting from Inspector Outside Services account 02-203-5080 for plan review for West 530 Apartments. Payment received by the city from PCO Holdings LLC for the amount due Higley Consulting. Item GG, discussion possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $2,870 to Melton AC and Appliance for the repair bill for HVAC work on the Pryor Area Arts and Humanities Building as in the best interest of the city from general repair and maintenance account 02-201-5091. Competitive bidding was not accomplished due to uncertain coil costs and uncertain lead times. Melton was called upon due to the current maintenance agreement. I might add that on item DD and item EE, both of those items did pass the EDTA meeting on the 19th and forwarded to council. That is the long list of consent agenda items. Which items would council like to remove?
Letter I, letter M, letter O, of course P for apparent reasons, R, CC, DD, EE.
Are there any others? I have item I, M, O, P, R, CC, DD, and EE. If there are no others, I entertain a motion for all the other items to be approved.
Second.
Motion Smith, second, is that Nance? Second Nance. Call for vote.
Barnhill,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
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 Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item I, discussion possible action regarding increasing Pele Van funding from $25,000 to $32,000 per the request of Grand Gateway Economic Development Association. This action is proposed to overspend item 02-201-5337. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Shropshire. This item, there was a letter that was not received in the, at City Hall regarding requests to move that number from 25,000 to 32,000. The justification is in your packet, if you've had an opportunity to read it from Grand Gateway. This did go to Budget Personnel Committee the other night. They did approve it to send it on to council. I might say that in their workings of all of their equipment, their insurance costs and their fuel costs have all gone up. Also, their the number of rides that they provide has also gone up, and so they're being used significantly more than they were. So I believe that the $7,000 increase is certainly justified. Other comments?
My concern is not the additional, I'm not contesting that. It's just they told us when we was in that class that we cannot overspend. If the money is not there, we can't pull from that line item, and we need to correct that before we actually pull it. I'm not saying they don't need it. I'm just saying we've got to take care of that before we actually spend it, as per what they said when I went to the class.
Okay, so on that particular line item, yes, line items get overspent many times during the year. What's important is that we don't overspend the 201 section. And so overspending a particular line item, there's not a problem with it as long as we go through a process to be able to do that. So this process was taking it to budget personnel, and they approved it, sent it on to city council.
So where's the 7,000? Which line item is it going to pull from? That's my question.
It'll pull from what other line items within that 201 section.
When we had our report, our financial statement report earlier, we found out that we had several $100,000 that weren't spent, that were budgeted for last year. And it'll probably come from that, one of those line items that we didn't spend as much on as we planned to spend.
Out of 201.
Yeah, the 201.
Out of the 201 fund. So it's up to the mayor, up to a budget personnel committee, and up to council to assure that we don't overspend the 201 section. Other comments or questions? Hearing none, call for vote.
Gantier,
No.
Seaver,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barnhill,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item M, discussion possible action regarding hotel motel tax allocation for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Item A, Pryor Area Chamber of Commerce, 40% at $49,699.52. Item B, Pryor Public Schools, 20%, $24,849.76. Item C, Pryor Main Street, 10%, $12,424.88. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood. Is that, oh, yeah, you bet. Barham second.
Thanks, Mayor.
Discussion.
I just think that there were some people asking about how this breaks down, that just an explanation of what this is might be good at this point, just so people would understand where this money comes from and what it's for.
Well, the hotel motel tax does come from hotel motel. It doesn't, those monies don't commingle with any of the other funds. And then there is a hotel motel tax allocation board that Main Street or Pryor Public Schools or Chamber of Commerce or anybody else who would like to approach that board for a grant, they're able to do that. Traditionally, part of our Chamber of Commerce funding has come from that hotel motel tax allocation board. Also, the Pryor Public Schools, we have funded them with grant from that allocation, and also Pryor Main Street. These are, and I did a separation of page 43 through 362. And
Documentation.
and that is their documentation, that's all the receipts.
Yeah.
And so that's what they do, they keep those receipts. They keep those receipts, they bring the receipts, and then we do what we have agreed to do through the past and continue to agree to do. But the Hotel Motel Tax Allocation Board are the ones that recommend that, and they have purview over that fund.
I've served on that board, Mayor, and I would encourage anyone that has questions to attend the meetings. It's a very extensive process. The grant application in itself is extensive, along with what the board goes through in order to allocate the funds. And we get to, it's fun because we get to reward our community for doing great things. And we have 2 representatives here that have long years have got to benefit from those funds. So I would encourage you to go.
So if the soccer league wanted to come, they could, but
Absolutely.
Yeah. You get a stack of applications, and they have a certain amount of money that the board decides who gets, what.
I mean, how do they determine these percentages? Is there ever change, or are they just stuck in concrete?
Those percentages are requested, and through the years, that has been a kind of a traditional percentage that has been awarded. So as the hotel motel tax revenues go up, those percentages, those amounts also go up because there are percentages. I might say that with a report that was run today, there's a balance of $141,715 in that hotel motel tax allocation fund, and we have softball who has requested $5,000 from that, and we encourage any of our, especially any of our sports leagues, to make requests from those funds. The sports leagues, they bring people in from out of town. They stay in hotels and they eat in restaurants, and it's very appropriate to have a grant that would come from hotel motel to one of those.
Well, I'm no fan of soccer, but it's
Come on now.
popular.
Well, thanks for saying that, Todd.
But I'm told that there'd be more people coming tournaments after dark if we could ever get lights, help them with getting lights up.
So believe it or not, we do have some things in process through our EDTA in that regard. And so the funds that we transferred, the $50,000 that we transferred to EDTA in last fiscal year, and also the $50,000 that's proposed on this agenda, go to EDTA, and they have the ability, and they've created a way to give grants to those. And so there is one of those grant applications that has to do with lights at the soccer field.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Other questions, discussion, comments? Hearing none, call for vote.
Seaver,
Yep. Yes.
Hitcher,
What'd you say? Sounded like Russian.
Sorry about that.
She needed a drink of water.
Yes. Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Banana,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes.
Arden,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item O, discussion possible action regarding expenditure in the amount of $11,961.60 from CBI Wholesale Electric LLC for LED lighting at the Whitaker Park Tennis Courts from bids received. Other bids received, Lighting Incorporated BA in the amount of $6,806.87 for half the number of lights needed. Lock Supply Company in the amount of $22,288. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Chitwood. Discussion.
Yes, my question is, what account is this coming from, and how much is in there?
That is a very good question. And my apologies for not getting that number in there. Frank, is that, did we,
Yeah, it's budgeted in the park capital outlay.
in Parks Capital Outlay, all right, so let's correct that.
That's 44445.
Okay, the 4-4 fund. All right,
what are the last four, Frank?
5415.
4-4-4-4-5-5-4-1-5. We can amend that,
That number off the top of your head?
that number.
He's
Well, he
seen
probably
that-
fools with it all the time. It's alien to us. But do we know the amount that was in there?
I budgeted 12,000 for the lights.
Okay.
Presently, there's $116,000 in that item. Other questions, comments? Thank you, Frank. Call for vote?
Hitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Arden,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Item P, discussion possible action regarding expenditure in the amount of $22,425.25 to P&K Equipment for the purchase of John Deere Z997R diesel power mower, or diesel mower for the Pryor Creek Cemetery at state contract price from Cemetery Capital Outlay account 44445-5413. Is there a motion?
Motion for no action, or
No, we should,
Motion for
Motion.
removal?
no,
a motion and we vote?
just motion that you vote no.
Motion.
So motion.
Motion.
You can't make a motion that you vote no, so we need a motion and a second, and then we need to vote. Motion Chitwood, second Smith. And this was the item that was on the addendum, so I would encourage a no vote on this item. Discussion?
Why couldn't we just vote to strike it from the list?
Well, we could do that too.
Or just vote
But
no.
we have a motion and a second.
Yeah, I don't care.
Doesn't matter. Call for vote.
Shropshire,
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
Chitwood,
No.
Arden,
No.
Gantier,
No.
No.
Hitcher,
No.
Motion did not carry. It voted no. Item R, discussion possible action regarding beginning the hiring process for 3 new firefighters and 1 replacement firefighter. Starting dates to be effective when the new building is in operation and upon the retirement of Captain Gibbs. Item R, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Ketcher, second Chitwood. Discussion.
Yes, I'm very concerned about the timing, not the desire to have more firemen. I just am concerned that we are so close with our budget that if we have the least little bit of shakiness what comes in with the sales tax, that it may negatively affect us. And so I'm very concerned about the financial ability to meet this obligation.
And myself and the mayor, when we first started talking about the budget this year, we actually talked about budgeting these, and we budgeted them for the full year. These will actually come in mid-year, So there'll be 6 months that we actually weren't even paying them on the books. But we talked about this, I showed the mayor, I talked with the budget committee, showed them our shortfalls and stuff like that. We can keep running short manned and stuff like that, but when we run short manned, somebody's gonna get hurt or even worse. So, that's why we brought it to the mayor for this year's budget to start growing the force and getting that way. We have volunteers, great guys, I meant, couldn't ask for better guys, but it's just a different world we live in now. It's not like, I was telling the budget, back in the day, guys could close up the shop, run in and assist with calls. We don't have that now. So now we're running bigger calls, our MVAs and some of our fires shorthanded. The only way I see us being correct is putting more boots on the ground that are paid up there ready to respond. Last time we did our ISO, we actually called for 3 engines or 3 trucks. ISO wants 6 guys on the truck. That's 2 going in, 2 staying out to rescue those 2 if there's an issue, 1 pumping the truck and 1 guy in command. So even what we're looking at to where we can staff 2 trucks
Still not what
with
they're
3
asking.
guys and then time off, we're looking at 4 guys on duty a lot of the time. So we're still way understaffed, and we've been very fortunate with our volunteers. That's always helped us offset that, but we're not seeing that now, and it's nothing against the volunteers or anything like that. It's just, you can't fault companies for not wanting to turn guys loose when they're up there on their dime and stuff like that, but.
You also made mention, I believe that I understood this right, that if your ISO changes, it could increase everybody's insurance in Pryor too, their home insurance and stuff.
Yeah, and there's companies out there, there's a couple insurance companies that say, hey, we don't care about ISO. They don't use ISO because they pay in to get that information, so they make their own formulas. It's the same thing. When they go to look at their formulas, they're not going to invest, and that's what gets us. Population's not what affects the fire department, it's your fire load, so your building. So the school's growing, the industrial park growing, all the great things we see going around our town. That's what affects us. I mean, our population can go up or go down, but it's not so much the population, it's if this building that's this size is on fire, can you all handle it? Do you have the equipment, do you have the manpower to respond to your calls and do it in the best way you can with not getting people hurt?
Do we get any money from Mid-America?
No, we've been in talks with them, because they do affect our ISO just because they're in our fire district. We've talked with them, and I will say we're kind of moving forward with some of that with just, we haven't always had, I wouldn't say, we've always had a good relationship, but we're getting better at showing, just like this, bringing this up to you all, our shortfalls, going out there and telling them, hey, when we come out there and Shodo and Locust respond with us, those are volunteer departments. We're not the only ones that are having shortfalls with volunteers. So if we call for Shodo and Locust, great people out there, got great firemen and firewomen that will crash the doors if they can. If not, we call, they might be a Locust, hey, we're sending 2 guys in a brush truck, that's all we got. Or Shodo, and vice versa. You know, we'll go help them if they call for our help, but if we page out and we don't have volunteers that can come in to send, we can't empty our stations that are here to protect our community. Same thing with them. If they don't have guys because they're on another call, sorry, that we'll help each other 100% and do everything we can. But
So BK and I have been talking to Mid-America Industrial Park, for now for what, 2 years?
yes, sir.
2 years, and because they're building the district out there. You see the apartments going up out there. Well, that's going to be in city limits. That's going to be in city limits. That's going to be, we're going to cover that. And whatever single-family dwellings are built out there, we'll cover that. The buildings that are out there right now, the retail buildings that are out there, we cover that. So as we grow, our department has to grow along with that growth. There are monies that we do pay to volunteers, but if their volunteers are not there, they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid from that line item, and so.
Another thing that you shared was why you're going to have to keep that station open, why you're going to need additional people to be.
And that's another thing we do. Fire departments, as you notice in the big towns, or as they grow and stuff, they don't just keep housing more and more guys at one station. We spread out, so we've got quicker response time. So when the alarm goes off, you can start, you bust up your area is all you're doing. So since we're not like the PD out just roaming, we're setting ourselves in spots to try to get to places the best we can. So when that call comes out, there's an old joke in the fire service that, you don't pay us for what we do, you pay us for what we can do. And you don't want us working, because if we're working, somebody's having a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those things, we're 100% reactive. So when the call comes in, if it's something here, the industrial park, somebody's house, what we got, and right now, we're floating sometimes shifts with just 3 guys on duty. And depending on what time of the year it is and what everybody's got going, then if they holler, we brought up some of the run sheets that James Spays volunteers off. During Oklahoma, one of our biggest thing, we had 2 or 3 guys that signed out there, so they were tied up there. Those were some of our guys that come in on call, so we paged out, didn't have anybody show up. We paged out to other areas. That's during holiday weekends, so, if Shoto guys are out doing things with their family, then it's just telling the boys on the truck, giddy up and get after it.
Well, in my opinion, if our budget is tight, there's other areas that we can squeeze and not to protect from our protection. I think there's other areas that we could look at if our budget gets so close.
That's my preference, because I'm not anti-police or fire, because I know that y'all are exceedingly valuable, and there's absolutely, I just don't want us to overextend and not be able to meet our obligations. That's purely what it is.
Yes, sir.
It's nothing to do with I was been out of shape and upset when we had so many of our law enforcement tied up because the train blocked us for 2.5 hours or whatever, and our resources were tied up there. And so I understand what you're saying. We had 5 or 6 guys or gals taking care of stuff, and so I get it. I just don't want to say, yeah, come on, and then we can't pay you.
No,
That's my concern.
Yeah, and that's anything we ever put on the agenda, I totally expect everybody to say, hey, why do you want this? I mean, that's my job to be able to show you, hey, this is where we're hurting, or this is why we need this, and if I can't, then, that's your all's job to look at what we're spending our money on. My job's to make sure my guys are protected and got the best they can, and look out for them. Them doing that, me doing that, then they go out and protect our citizens. So that's what we're here for.
Other comments, other questions? Thank you, BK.
Sir?
Call for vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barnhill,
Yes.
Gantier,
Abstain.
Seaver,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item CC, discussion and possible action on the expenditure of $15,947.18 to Haddock Technologies for 2 Promethean boards with licensed cameras, cables, projectors, and audio systems with mics for the training room for the Emergency Services Center. Other quotes received, JATF Gov, in the amount of $14,175 for Promethean boards only, touch boards in the amount of $15,673.18 for Promethean boards only. $15,896.18 was awarded to the police department from the Attorney General grant. The Attorney General's office has approved the Pryor Creek Police Department to purchase the equipment, and the department would be reimbursed. $15,896.18 to be expended from the Police Attorney General Grant Account 969655503, and $51 from the Police Supplies General Account 02-215-5032.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Smith. Discussion.
Is there money in that account currently to cover it? I know it's going to be reimbursed, but it's the same thing. They told us not to spend it if it isn't there. That's my question.
That's the 9-6 account.
No, there's not money there, but that is the account that it's money in, money out. That amount is I'm sorry, that money is just for the Attorney General's grant, so there's not money in there unless we get the grant. That's why I made sure I asked permission from the Attorney General's office to go ahead and spend that money. So it'll be reimbursed.
But Fund 96 does have the funds in there.
Yes. That particular line item don't, but there's money in the general.
There is money in the 96 fund, not in that particular line item, but there is money in the 96 fund.
There again, I might have to make the comment again. I know you're getting tired of hearing it, but they told us at that class, if it's not in that line item, we can't do it. And so I'm bringing that up.
There is $276,613 in the 96 fund at this particular time. So there would be monies that would be in that 96 fund that would be reimbursed from that grant account. And also, you'll notice a whopping $51 out of that 215-5032 account. And there is money there.
Yes, sir. And we're just grateful to get a $16,000 grant to cover the stuff that we were gonna need, so.
Oh, I'm happy for it. I just don't want to get myself in trouble doing something they expressly told me not to do.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Other comments, questions? Call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Gantier,
No.
Seaver,
Yes.
Pitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Mance.
Yes.
Item DD, discussion possible action regarding approval of a memorandum of an understanding with Pryor Main Street pending approval of Economic Development Trust Authority on September 19, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Smith. Jenny, would you like to come to the microphone? This is a memorandum of understanding, Pryor Main Street. She presented to Economic Development Trust Authority, and that also is in your packet. And the reason for the memorandum of understanding is to request funding from the bond, from the bond portion that funds our downtown corridor for the purpose of overseeing and reimbursing expenses that Pryor Main Street has for writing grants and other things. Did I say that correctly?
Yep, I can jump in whenever you want me to.
Fire
I know
away.
it like the back of my hand. So I didn't have anything prepared for this. Honestly, I saw it back there for the first time, but I do know it like the back of my hand. So just to give a little bit of background information, we've worked really closely with the Hotel Motel Board because at the conception of their committee, they had the community come and tell them what was important to them. Well, one of the main things that were important were downtown development. That also matched what was voted, which is Fund 68, which is the Main Street account for downtown development, which generates roughly $10,000 per month. That has been racking up in an account to get $282,000, which in my opinion is not a good steward of the money if that money's been racked up for essentially years' time and nothing has been done with it. So that's when we approached the EDTA, we decided to come up with a plan to how to utilize those funds to best match with the description of that Fund 68 and what the voters wanted. And that began the streetscape plan, and we were able to be able to fund that. And then that turned into grant writing, which I've reported to you guys that we've received the TSET grant. Pryor Main Street wrote that on behalf of the city of Pryor and did not require any funding from the city to be able to do that, as well as TAP grants to go further into completion of the streetscape plan. And up until this point, there's been no compensation for any of that written on behalf of the city of Pryor. However, it does take away from resources at Pryor Main Street, and we are a nonprofit that's solely funded by partnerships, fundraisers. We don't get a grant, we don't get a state pot of money, we get support by our community. And so with that, I know it's long, but I'm just giving everyone the background for transparency. With that, and with all the reporting with the Economic Development Trust Authority, we decided to start compiling this MOU to utilize some of those funds, that Fund 68, to be able to benefit our organization that is solely focused on downtown development. And we want to be able to work with Kim Ritchie and the EDTA, and we had the discussion, Q&A, and I don't know, you said that it was all in their packets of what I reported, just to give a background of what Main Street is, because I don't believe a lot of people actually fully understand the behind the scenes of what we do and how that directly affects economic development. And so We wanted to complete this MOU to be able to consolidate resources because we've never worked more closely with the city. Our expectations from the city have evolved, our projects have evolved, what we do have evolved. However, our resources from the city have not evolved, and we have this fund and a solution to a problem, and that's what the MOU is going to tackle.
So EDTA agreed to get an MOU drawn up, agreed to send that to our city attorney to draw up that MOU. So once that is created, it'll go back to EDTA to forward on to council. That is, the information is in your packet, pages 400 through 409. So in your packet.
So is it giving us a breakdown, or that's going to be when the packet's done? I mean, I'm not understanding how much money is going to be going to the Main Street.
Page 401D.
Page 401D, the request was 50% of the monthly downtown development funds to aid in the overall synergy of our missions. So as that, there was a 50% of those funds talked about. There was also a particular amount rather than a percentage that was talked about. And so when that MOU is actually written, then there will be more definition about that.
So at this point, it's 50%, but we don't actually know the amount?
Well,
There's a certain amount every month that comes in.
that'll change because it's a percentage of amount of sales tax that comes in every month.
Do we have a rough idea of what the range is on that? Or
Around $5,000. This past month, $11,000 came in to that account from that tax allocation. Most of the time, it's has been in the $10,000 range. So a question was asked at EDTA about, well, how much money, would you need? And they said somewhere around $5,000. So perhaps when that MOU is written, there will be an amount that's identified. The reason the motion is on the agenda tonight is because EDTA sent it on to council for the purpose of writing the MOU.
So we're basically approving the writing of the MOU?
The creation of the MOU, yes.
But not actually the details yet?
That's correct.
Okay.
No details have been specified.
So that'll come and then we'll finalize it?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Great
But
work.
you guys got my long-winded background, so I don't have to do as much next time.
You're doing good stuff.
Thanks, thank you.
Other questions for Jenny? Comments?
Okay.
Call for vote?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jenny.
Chilton,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Montague,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petter,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item EE, discussion possible action regarding transfer of $50,000 from general fund EDTA account 02-203-5222 to the EDTA fund account number 98, pending approval of Economic Development Trust Authority on September 19, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Smith. Discussion?
Yes, for clarification, is this that money, that 25 and the 25 that we worked on a few meetings back, or is this something new?
No, this is the amount of money that was budgeted into the 203 fund, which is community development, that has, it's earmarked toward our EDTA. So we transfer this over to EDTA, and then they use it as they see fit with grants, with whatever. And then whatever they do with that comes back to us for eventual approval.
Okay, because I know we had discussed a couple of things with the EDTA, 25,000 from last year, and then this year 25,000. Is that same pool of money, or is it something separate?
I'm not recalling exactly what you're talking about with the 25,000, but there was $50,000 last year that was appropriated through the 203 fund, and they requested that, and we sent that on to them. And then this is a $50,000 that is appropriated this fiscal year that they are now requesting. what's happening with EDTA is that there are groups that are coming in and are formulating requests for grants. So EDTA now, with these funds, they're able to fulfill those grants. For instance, with softball, with baseball, with soccer, and we talked about earlier with the soccer lights. So it's monies that are going from community development and actually doing community development through EDTA.
So that amount's currently in that line item, and we're just bumping it over to the account where they can work it? Is that
Yes.
basic? Okay, that's what I'm trying to
It's
understand.
also at the back of your packet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Other questions, comments? Call for vote?
Arden,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petrus,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yep.
Chitwood.
Yes.
Motion carries. I'd like to back up to City Attorney's report and entertain a motion to take that, to remove that item
Motion.
from the table.
Second.
Ketcher, motion, second, Chitwood. Call for vote?
He's gonna go.
Wait, you went too fast. I was trying to,
We're gonna listen to
oh,
the
okay.
presentation now.
I'm sorry, I moved too quickly
Here,
there.
move
We're
the
going
table.
back to City Attorney's report, taking that off the
I think it's
table.
Chitwood.
Okay.
Removing that from the table.
We tabled it
Okay.
because he's gone, now he's here, so we're bringing it back.
Call for vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Arden,
Yes.
Gantier,
I'm a little confused. Are we voting to approve this or just?
No, let's take it off the
Take it
table.
off table.
Oh, okay, okay, I'm sorry. You had me thrown, yes.
We tabled
Yes.
it, we're voting to bring it back.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I was thrown off.
Welcome,
I
Counselor.
don't know, I thought we were gonna get out of
Apologize
here
for my
early.
tardiness. Been in a jury trial in Cherokee County, a little late getting out of there.
Well, I hope you're not beat up or anything.
No, I'm feeling good right now.
He's feeling good. Good.
So, item 5A, discussion and possible action for approval of municipal court agreement with the Cherokee Nation regarding municipal charges involving tribal defendants.
Motion?
Second.
Motion, Shropshire, second, Smith. We have this in, you have this in your packet,
A bunch of it too.
and I would encourage you to thumb through over there to that.
Page 3.
Page 3.
Obviously, this grew out of the McGirt decision. Cherokees have entered into agreements with various municipalities that allows us to, I don't know, kind of be counter deputized, if you want to say that, for our municipal court, so that we don't have to send all the speeding tickets and all of the littering and all of the, just all of the general charges that we get in municipal court, so that we don't have to send those people to Tahlequah. And so that the Cherokee tribal court system is not overwhelmed with all of these little municipal charges. So by entering into this agreement, we will be empowered to receive those people into municipal court. And if they desire to enter into a plea, if they plead guilty, or if they want to enter into a plea agreement or whatever, we can go ahead and do that. And we send $30 of the fines that are collected to the Cherokees. If somebody does request a trial, then we send that to the Cherokee tribe for them to make a decision on trial on the defendants. I'm also city attorney for Jay, and we entered into this agreement up in Jay about close to a year ago, and it's worked really well. Good coordination between the two courts, good coordination between law enforcement. It's not overly burdensome in record keeping. When we first started looking at these things, there was a pretty big burden on record keeping, and it was kind of convoluted on how it would be implemented, but that's all kind of been ironed out through the last, I'm going to say, year to 16 months, something like that. So, I think it's a good agreement, and be good for us to enter into.
I've done some research on this, and I have something which I will give to the clerk when I finish. On page 8 of the Pryor Creek City Council packet dated September 20th, 2022, in reference to agenda item 5A under City Attorney's Report, we see the following statement. Cherokee Nation also may exercise jurisdiction over non-Indian perpetrators if the victim is Indian and it is a crime of domestic violence or violation of tribal or state protective order. It is therefore important to identify if the victim of these crimes are Indian. If it is a non-Indian perpetrator, this can be done in the same manner as the defendants by CDIB and tribal citizenship card. The basis for this is based on the McGirt decision in conjunction with Hogner versus State. This is seen on page 1 of the memorandum agreement between the Cherokee Nation and the city of Pryor, Oklahoma. On page 37 of the Supreme Court's opinion regarding McGirt versus Oklahoma, we see the following. Each tribe's treaties must be considered on their own terms, and the only question before us concerns the creek. According to the written opinion of the Supreme Court, the McGirt decision has no relevance to the Cherokee Nation. Therefore, Hogner versus State opinion is also not relevant since it expands the McGirt decision, which itself says only applies to the Creek Nation. Also in question is the Major Crimes Act, which gives federal jurisdiction over major crimes. This memorandum is transferring jurisdiction of minor crimes that are not allowed to be placed under federal jurisdiction. Further be it known, the McGirt decision never allows for non-tribal citizens to be under the authority or jurisdiction of a tribe, nor can the Supreme Court remove constitutional rights granted to Indians under the Indian Citizen Act on June 2nd, 1924. Quote, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled that all non-citizen Indians born within the territorial limits of the United States be, and they are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States, provided that the granting of such citizenship shall not in any manner impair or otherwise affect the right of any Indian, tribal, or other property. This means Indians are guaranteed the rights that any other citizen has, including and especially as related to the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. This agreement would violate the U.S. Constitution in the following areas. Violates Amendment 16, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. It violates Amendment 5, due process. Violates Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. As a municipality, we do not have authority under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution to engage in such a treaty or agreement. Amendment 10, the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states or reserved to the states respectively or the people. According to the Oklahoma State Constitution, municipalities or corporations under Article 18, Section 2 and 3, rights and powers are conferred to municipalities as per the state constitution. Therefore, we cannot violate or exceed state authority. To agree with this memorandum would violate the state constitution. In Article 15, Section 1 of the state constitution, we are required to take an oath to uphold the state and federal constitutions. Agreeing to this memorandum violates said oath of office and would constitute a felony, subjecting us to being forever barred from public service again. Further, statutory law provides mandatory prison time for said felony. Oklahoma Title 51-36-6. Every public officer or employee having taken and subscribed to the oath or affirmation required by this act and having entered upon the duties of his office or employment, who while holding his office or while being so employed,
How long is this going to go?
I'm
How much
almost
more do you
done.
got to read?
I'm almost done.
Because Hogner it's a Cherokee Nation case, which connected it to McGirt.
I'm almost done.
You are incorrect.
I'm almost done. Let me go back and read that again. Every public officer or employee having taken and subscribed to the oath or affirmation required by this act, and having entered upon the duties of his office or employment, who, while holding his office, or while being so employed, advocates by the medium of teaching or justifies directly or indirectly, or becomes a member or affiliated with the Communist Party or the Communiform, or with any party organization, political or otherwise, known by him to advocate by the medium of teaching or justify directly or indirectly revolution, sedition, treason, or a program of sabotage or the overthrow of the government of the United States or of the state of Oklahoma, or a change in the form of government thereof by force, violence, or other unlawful means, shall be guilty of a felony, and upon conviction be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for not less than 1 year, nor more than 14 years, and in addition thereto, the person shall forfeit his or her office or employment. For these and other reasons, I object to and reject said memorandum.
Where'd you come up with that horse crap?
The Constitution is not,
Let's keep it civil, please. Appreciate your comments. Let's keep it civil. Everyone has an opportunity to speak. Everyone has the right to speak.
and I've actually
My
signed this and
apologies
would
to
like
the
this
audience.
entered as into the minutes, please.
Also like for Mr. Ritchie to perhaps respond.
My response is pretty short, and that is that our Supreme Court has made a ruling that we're Indian country and that we have a treaty with Cherokees, among others. And we are to respect those treaties, and the agreement that I've presented to you is one that some municipalities have refused to sign. I understand that, and but many municipalities have come to the ultimate conclusion that I have, and that is that this is in accordance with the Supreme Court's ruling, and it's a proper and expedient way to deal with the unique situation that we have where we live. So I don't believe that you're violating any kind of a law entering into the agreement with the tribe.
Council, questions, other comments?
What was your source of information?
The Constitution. the
Your
Mc-
interpretation?
I just read it to you. It says what it says. The McGirt decision, where it specifically said this only applies to the Creek Nation and nothing else, and that each other one would have to be taken care of on an individual basis.
And that's what Hogner was. McGirt was for the creeks, and then
But Hogner's
Nation had
not,
Hogner,
Hogner's
which
not a
then
Supreme
linked
Court
it in.
decision. It was not a Supreme Court decision, and they did not go through and evaluate the treaties of the
You are
Cherokee.
incorrect, sir.
We differ.
We live in a very unique place in this country, and we have a very unique situation. I believe that what this agreement would do with the tribe would be to benefit the city because it allows for the enforcement and the prosecution of municipal crimes, which right now we can't do on our own. We can't. So it creates a situation where the tribe can deal with it, we can deal with it, and we can live together and deal together. Is everything ironed out? No. Over the next foreseeable future, there's going to be more litigation, and there's going to be more court decisions. And we'll know in the end, as these things work their ways through the various systems. But right now, I believe this is the position that we're in, and I think it's the appropriate action for the city.
Comments, questions?
So can the Cherokee Nation take authority over the city? So let's like the crime within the city, can they take?
If there's gonna be a-
Jurisdiction, that's the word I lost a minute ago, jurisdiction. So let's say there's a crime.
They have exclusive jurisdiction over Native American or Indian perpetrators. We know that. Whether they have jurisdiction over a non-Indian perpetrator committing a crime on an Indian, Native American, doesn't appear to be the case now.
Under the VAWA Act, we have jurisdiction on domestic violence cases, child support, and then they recently added, if a non-Indian assaults a tribal police officer, then we can have jurisdiction over that as well.
So, as I said, all of this is still
I was
developing,
gonna say it's still in court.
but this is an appropriate action at this time, I believe. Personality to take.
So right now, they're having to go to Tahlequah.
Right now, if we
Or
write a
mail it in.
ticket or whatever, we are, because we don't have this agreement with them right now, we have to send that ticket to Tahlequah, to the tribal court.
Wow.
And it's up to them to decide whether to actually prosecute on that ticket or not. And the truth is that there is so much of that, that
I'm sure.
the speeding tickets and the minor things that we handle in municipal court, they're just not being enforced.
Yeah, we went from having court twice a month to twice a week to now every day of the week.
Wow.
Because we got 14 counties shooting all that stuff down there.
Wow.
So, seems like an appropriate way to deal with it to me.
And we are legally on a reservation now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's been that way for
Mhm.
months now.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but it is a reservation.
Yes.
We do live on a reservation.
And the agreement was $30, correct? Per,
Okay, we've had significant discussions, significant questioning.
I believe I'll need to abstain since I'm Cherokee Marshal, so.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Once this does get worked out into the judicial branch, you will come then back to us and say,
Yeah, if anything changes,
Okay.
then we'll change, you bet.
That's a copy.
I mean, I knew you would, I'm just saying it out loud.
Right.
And there doesn't look like a chance, we were talking about, it doesn't look like a chance we're all gonna go to jail for, trying to get an agreement with the tribes.
There's nothing illegal about doing this at all.
It's no different than cross-deputization that the Marshal Service has with sheriff's offices or other municipal police departments.
Very good. Any other
I
comments?
do appreciate you researching this.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. I do.
Call for vote, please.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Gantier,
No.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petter,
Abstain?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 7, committee reports, budget personnel, Shropshire.
Yes, we're gonna have a budget meeting October the 10th, and if we could, we'd like to move that meeting from 5:30 to 6 o'clock.
Very good. We can do that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Item B, ordinance insurance, Shropshire.
November the 3rd. And that'll be at 5:30.
Very good.
November?
November the 3rd.
Item C, street committees, Mr. Smith.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you, sir.
Let me know what you need.
Item 8, unforeseeable business, I know of none. Item 9 is
Motion.
adjourned.
Second.
That is, yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry. I do want to say, Chief, I know we hired 2 officers tonight, and I think one of them was here. Will you please tell congratulations? I know he had spent some time here, and then we did not acknowledge him, so. Oh, they were both here. Well, tell them both thank you. All right, sorry, Mayor.
That's all right. I apologize for overlooking that, Chief. We should have recognized them. There's a motion to adjourn. That was Ketcher and Smith. Call for vote.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petter,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Motion carries. Pryor Public Works Authority call to order. Item 2, approval of minutes, September 6, 2022 meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Gantier, second Smith. Call for vote.
Seaver,
Yes.
Petrich,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
Gantier.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 3, unforeseeable business, there is none. Item 4 is
Motion.
adjourn.
Second.
Ketcher and Smith. Call for vote.
Petrich,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Yes.
Here, yes. Gotcha. Got the
Yes.
beginning and mixed up.
Gantier,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Chris was passing down what he
Oh, yeah.
said.